Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you've joined us today as we are here to mark a momentous occasion in Indian higher education. We are here today, this evening, to launch a set of high quality, interactive, industry relevant online master's degrees, both the MBA and the MCA degree programs. So, in the next 1 hour, we will discuss the institution behind these programs, the MBA and MCA degrees that are being offered, how you can make the most of this wonderful opportunity, and I'll leave plenty of time for questions at the end of it all. So I'm glad you made the time for this session. Before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Harish Subramanian. I'm a director at Great Learning. I have been in education for coming up on a decade now, and I previously worked in management consulting with companies like the Boston Consulting Group. I've also worked in financial technology across North America and Europe. I earned my MBA from the Kellogg School of Management and a master's in machine learning from the University of Texas at Austin. And with me here are Dr. Raj Singh, Vice Chancellor of Jain University, Dr. Dhimant Kanatra, Deputy Director at Jain University and the person leading the online programs, and Mr. Arjun Nair, co-founder at Great Learning. So welcome, Dr. Raj, Dr. Dhimant, and Mr. Arjun. So first off, I'd like to invite Dr. Raj to speak. Dr. Raj Singh is the Vice Chancellor of Jain University, as I said. He's an innovative academic leader and administrator. He spent nearly 4 decades in his professional career and has seen it all. He served in the Indian Air Force, has been a member of various educational institutions around the country, is a big proponent of inter and transdisciplinary learning, and he's earned multiple degrees in mathematics and economics. He's been a chartered financial analyst from the Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts in India and earned his PhD from the Maharishi Dayanand University. Welcome, Dr. Raj Singh. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Harish.
I would love for you, Dr. Raj, to to just introduce Jain University, your vision for the university, and what makes it unique.
Thank you, Harish. First of all, thank you for having me in this panel. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, wherever applicable. I'm sure the audience is joining from all over the world. The online interaction has demolished all the boundaries geographically, I would say. First of all, I'm extremely happy that Great Learning and Jain deemed to be university have joined hands to offer these quality online degrees. And it's very pertinent to mention that the future belongs to those universities and institutions who join hands with the university. This is the era of cohabiting, co-creating, and co-owning the curriculum. I think it fits into that kind of scheme of things. I'm also particularly delighted that Government of India, Ministry of Education and University Grants Commission have decided to ask top-ranked universities to offer online degrees, which has not been the case till now. I think under the graded autonomy scheme, this will, in true sense, fulfill the objective of new national education policy, which talks about not only access and inclusion, but also access, inclusion, and affordability with quality education. I think that has been the thing which is missing in higher education till the time new education policy was announced. And it's in that context that Jain University has been granted approval for offering quality degrees online. As far as Jain University is concerned, Jain as a group started 30 years ago, that is in 1990, maybe 31 years now. and it got the university status in 2008-9. And since then, we have not looked back. Currently, Jain, deemed to be university, is considered among the top universities in the country, with uh, featuring in NIRF top 100 universities. NIRF, as you all aware, is National Institutional Ranking Framework, which is offered by the Government of India, Ministry of Education, and UGC jointly. And also, we are a NAC accredited A grade. A grade was a pre 2017 scheme. So when the scheme revised in 2017, it's equivalent to A plus. Now, A plus means that automatically we get graded autonomy to start certain things, to have decision making power with us as compared to other universities, which need to go for approval every time. And this has been shown in our very, very innovative programs which we've been offering, the quality initiatives we have taken, which has been reflected in many other achievements that the university has shown in last 10 years or so. As I mentioned, having established in 2008 and 9, we already have more than 20,000 full-time students in more than 120 programs across about 9 campuses in South India. We have many student support cells which deal with student related issues on day-to-day basis, hour-to-hour basis, and handhold them wherever required. We have large number of international and national collaboration with the institutions and universities which have helped us in innovating these programs and offer them to our students so that they can get quality education. With about 1,000 plus faculty members full-time with the university, we cater to a multinational culture on the campuses. We currently have more than 2,000 full-time students from 43 countries. So, for students, what could be better when they, in their own country, in their own university, they can have a national culture to rub shoulders with and learn from them, learn about their work ethics, learn about their culture, and other aspects of not only education, but economy and culture of those countries. Jain University, domestically, of course, has also been given 5-star category by Karnataka State University Ranking Framework, ASURF, and we've been ranked 6th all over in the country by India Today among the private universities, which are now almost 500 plus universities. So all these achievements indicate towards what kind of quality of work Jain University has been doing. I'll just take a couple of minutes why and how we have been able to achieve what we've been able to achieve at Jain University. Keeping it simple, regulatory bodies in India have prescribed lots of norms and standards. And institutions in India are very quick to make those norms and standards at the ceiling, means this is something to be achieved. We have kept it simple. We want to keep it only floor and then move up so that the standards achieved are much higher than what would expect minimum. And the second thing which I think we have done is not only keeping this as a floor and moving up, some of the objectives, some of the things we want to do are enshrined in our vision and mission and the values we live for. For example, the vision of Jain deemed to be university is compelling and very, very simple. And it says that we want to impact the society through sustainable practices in education, research, and innovation. Very simple one-liner vision, but very, very profound as we move into the future. And this vision and mission are supported by certain values which we will live in the university on a day-to-day basis. Among others, 2 values I would like to specifically mention. One of them is empathy, compassion, and inclusion. Now, inclusion is something which will be reflected in what we are trying to do jointly with the Great Learning. And another value which is enshrined in our vision and mission is service to the society and the nation. Now, if you look at 2-3 categories of students who have not been served very well in the past. One of them is those who want to upskill themselves but can't leave their jobs. The second category is of those who are not able to access and afford quality education in a regular mode. And third category, which I have been very conscious about for last many, many years, and the world is now looking at that once any graduate passes out of a program of a university, we just forget about them. At Jain, we want to handhold, we want to see the growth of alumni for at least 2.5 decades. It's not that once they graduate, we'll leave them on their own and they upskill, they keep hunting for relevant programs and skills, particularly in such a fast changing industrial landscape where technology has completely revolutionized and the pandemic of COVID-19 has pushed her to the wall. There are certain things which are simply ignoring and not accepting. We accepted the next day when lockdown was announced. Now, these three categories of audience will be well served by the kind of degree programs we decided to offer. Quality program, and as I said, having tied up with the great learning, the industry relevance is automatically guaranteed. So if you look at all these specializations related to Industry 4.0, all the technological skills which you will need, I think will keep all our students ahead of their contemporaries compared to other universities. I would like to specifically mention that in one of the surveys in 2018, Forbes magazine said that those children who entered school in 2016, when they graduate and start working, the jobs they will be working on that time, 65% of them do not exist today. So one of the biggest challenges in front of institution like us is that what job we should prepare our students for. Online education gives you absolute flexibility. You can access best of Indian, best of foreign kind of courses, and it facilitates education, which is anything, anytime, anywhere, any pace in terms of speed, and any combination you want to pick up and specialize in. I think this kind of flexibility is not possible in case of regular degrees because of logistical issues and limitations. But online, I think opens the entire world to our students. So I think if I look at all these aspects, it's a momentous occasion, as Harish ji said in the beginning. The history is being redefined as to the higher education concern. And if we proceed with the genuine efforts from the university and our partners, I think we will not only serve these audiences better, but also contribute to the national priorities of increasing the gross enrollment ratio to about 50% by 2030, 2035, which the government of India has set target for. And it's our duty as a university to contribute towards attainment of those objectives and very effectively serve the society which our vision and mission asks us to impact. And we'll be able to create that kind of sustainability with genuine efforts. And I think we'll be able to contribute towards not only education sector, but economy as a whole, and making a community and society and the world a better place. So Harish ji, I'll stop here, and later on I'll take any questions which may come up. Over to you.
You know, I grew up in Bangalore, being a long time Bangalorean myself. You know, yes, it's an online degree, but it's important to recognize that, you know, people from around the country and beyond want to move to Bangalore. This is where, you know, this is kind of the professional epicenter of India. This is where all the emerging jobs are. And, you know, the name brand recognition of Jain University among companies, among some of the best companies, in both old and new, is definitely a huge added benefit, and something that that I believe you know, you have been working actively on nurturing, right? The very strong relations with the industry as well. So yeah, it's wonderful to see that, and you know, one of the reasons why we are absolutely delighted to be working with you as well. All right. I'd also like to invite Dr. Dhimant Kanatra, who's here, who's Deputy Director at Jain. Dr. Dhimant, I've been in conversations with Dr. Dhimant for a while now. He's an accomplished academic. He's had an accomplished academic career in decision sciences, analytics, and management studies for well over 20 years. He was previously the Associate Dean at Jain University for PG programs in management and executive education. He's been associated with institutions like IIM Bangalore and PES Institute of Technology as well. Dr. Dhimant earned his PhD in accounting and finance from the Bangalore University. Dr. Dhiman, thank you for joining us. And if you will, I invite you to dig a little deeper into the opportunity that that online degrees present to all of our participants today, everybody who's attended and keenly listening, and yeah, and the philosophy and ethos behind these programs.
Thank you, Harish. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, sir, for giving a introduction to Jain University. And thanks to VC, sir, our chairman, sir, and their vision that under the brand of Jain University, we are today able to offer this online programs. Now, what I would do is I'll take a couple of minutes to give you a macro overview of how these online programs are, how are they going to give you this flexibility, and just give you a quick understanding of how this is going to work. Now, the most important part when it comes to an online program, we say is the credibility of the program. So I'm sure you are seeing the slide there out. That's the first bullet point that we have put out. So at no point you need to be worried saying that am I studying a program which is not recognized. No, we are one of those very few universities, as Vice Chancellor sir pointed out, who have been approved and recognized by the University Grants Commission under the Ministry of Education to be allowed to offer those online programs. So whatever degrees that you're going to get on completion of the programs are going to be recognized. Right? So that credibility aspect part of it, we rest assured, you're with the right university. Now, we have always been pointing out that online programs are going to give you flexibility. Now, as rightly pointed out, we say anytime, anywhere, on any device, you're going to learn. Now, please be very clear. Sometimes there's a misunderstanding or a misconception that when something has a flexibility, it comes at a cost or it comes with some sacrifice. So another assurance that I would like to give you on behalf of university, that at no point in time these programs are inferior to on-campus based programs. Right? So flexibility, yes, but definitely not at the cost of curriculum. Right? So the curriculum that we have developed to be offered for both MBA and MCA programs are exactly in line with, if you are aware about the Indian education scenario, All India Council for Technical Education monitors this professional programs, and they have come out with this model curriculum, right? So our the basis for developing our curriculum and our syllabus is coming from there, right? So there is no literal sacrifice in terms of saying that just because the program is online, am I learning something less? No, you're not learning something less, but at the same time, you get the flexibility of learning. You don't have to sacrifice your present career, right? Yes, we would definitely expect some sacrifice in your social life because I'm going to keep you occupied over the weekends, right? So yes, but work-wise, career-wise, it is not going to put a period to it. There's no full stop to it. So, and given this testing times, we understand it's going to be really challenging for somebody to leave their present job, get into higher education, don't know what the scenario is going to be 2 years or 3 years down the line, depending upon the kind of program that you pursue. So this online program is going to give you that flexibility and at the same time ensure that the coverage, the curriculum that you study is what industry wants. It is updated as per what our partners like Great Learning have consulted the industry and then come out with this program. Now, another biggest advantage that you would see, there are many players in the market. I'll specifically touch upon how Jain Online is going to be different. One biggest advantage that you will see with us is in terms of the coverage that we are able to give to specialization courses. So almost 50% of our program is going to be different, right? So when I say it's going to be different, so a student with specialization A and a student with specialization B, say in the same MCA program, 50% of the courses are different. Not many universities, especially in India or even outside, are able to give you this kind of spread. So this gives us an opportunity to give you the spread of courses that you would need to upskill and reskill yourself. And along with this spread, we are also able to offer you depth. Each of our courses involve 120 learning hours. So when I say 120 learning hours, it is driven based on the credit system that is typically followed in the country. Every course here is of 4 credit, and each credit involves 30 learning hours. So when you're studying a particular course here for us is a subject, if that is the terminology that you're used to. So every subject or every course involves 120 learning hours, right? Which is exactly at par with a student or a candidate or a learner who has enrolled himself to an on-campus program. So 120 learning hours are going to get in order for you to master a particular course, right? And how am I going to take care of this 120 learning hours? Of course, there are going to be live sessions over the weekends. I have already indicated to you that I'm going to uh, make you sacrifice your social life slightly over the weekends, uh, just to give you that push ahead for the next 30 years of your working life. So we would have regular live sessions over the weekends. These live sessions will be supplemented again with pre-recorded audio video sessions, multimedia lectures. These pre-recorded sessions will give you more deeper insights, right, into specific topics, into specific aspects of whatever course you have enrolled for. And the biggest learning again is going to happen through our self-learning material. What is this self-learning material? This self-learning material will ensure that you don't miss the campus library, right? So on-campus program, I get to visit the library, I get to refer so many books. Correct. So what we have done is we have put in an effort to refer all those books and collate an exhaustive self-learning material for you, right? So this will also ensure that you don't really miss your on-campus learning experience. The self-learning material is going to be exhaustive. It will cover in depth on the topic of a particular course, unit-wise, semester-wise. So what we are trying to do with all these learning methodologies is to ensure that by enrolling into an online program, are you going to miss the on-campus feel? No, you're not going to miss the on-campus feel. Where do I interact with my classmates? Where do I interact with my batchmates? Where do I connect with the faculty? All those aspects, with the partners like Great Learning, all those aspects have been taken care. So your learning management system will put you in connect with not just your classmates, but with also to your faculty. And it is not that just because you are out away in some country, you cannot interact with the faculty who could also be from your own country. So these faculties are not just restricted to Indian territory, right? So these faculties could definitely be one of those best faculties who are there in your country. So at no point you're going to miss interacting. Yes, you're going to miss playing pranks with your classmates. Yeah, but yes, this is probably, if you want to put that as a drawback on your online engagement, yes, this could be one of those. Right? So uh, broadly, what I'm trying to convey to you is this online learning methodology is definitely going to be at par with on-campus programs. A biggest flexibility that we are able to offer you is in terms of examination. Our examinations are going to be online proctored examination. That means I'm giving you the convenience of sitting back at home in office, if it is permissible, and take up our online examinations as and when they are scheduled. Yes, there is a definite schedule to the examination, which is intimated to you well in advance so that you can plan your work during those specific days where examinations are held. But you really don't have to juggle around to visit a particular center or do what we need as a good internet access, and you should be able to take up online exams with the facility of a desktop coupled with internet facility. Uh, and curriculum part, I'll focus again. See, this curriculum, a deep thought has been gone into developing this curriculum, and especially when you look at technical programs, right? So the skills that industry wants today has been incorporated into the curriculum, into our syllabus, and we have gone all the way out to ensure that you don't learn something which is outdated. Now, along with learning, of course, there comes an assessment. I've told you assessment is going to be simple in terms of, yes, you have the flexibility to take it up online from your home or from your office. But at the same time, we have ensured that the pressure is not on that one single examination, right? So I'm going to grade you continuously throughout your learning in the semester. So in the sense that no, you start earning your grades, you start earning your marks from day that you enroll into the program. So the burden on you, the final examination part is definitely lowered. So we have this concept of continuous assessment, beautifully introduced by our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Raj Singh. So this innovative concepts will ensure that your journey of upskilling through a formal degree does not come at the cost of sacrificing your career. Right? So it's an assurance from our side saying that at no point you will feel the pressure. Right? So yes, there are going to be instances where your work takes a priority over learning, but since you would have access to those lectures even at a time when you are free, right? So at any time at your pace. Let me highlight when I say at your pace, yes, we are also able to offer you the flexibility of completing the program, uh, not just in 2 years. No, we are going to give you 4 years. So MBA and MCA launch is what you're attending. So this MBA and MCA programs can be completed in a duration of 4 years. Right? So you realize you're up for promotion. I don't want to take any chance by sacrificing on my work in the coming year. Please take a break. Come back to us after 1 year. But 4 years is the duration that I'm going to give you as a university to complete these programs. Right. So this was just an attempt from our side to briefly give you about how this online programs are going to work. At the end, in case there are any specific queries in terms of how the program is delivered, how the program works, I'll be happy to share. Thank you, Harish. That is it from my side.
That was a wonderful and comprehensive overview of the program. As you said, in a moment we'll also walk through some of the specializations that you talked about and what it means when you say such heavy emphasis is laid on the specializations. Before that, for just a few minutes, I'd like to invite Mr. Arjun Nair, as I said, co-founder at Great Learning, who's had nearly a decade in education, building some of India's finest professional learning programs in analytics, data science, management, marketing, and has also complemented that with an accomplished business career in global powerhouse companies like ZipDial, Amazon, and Siemens. Arjun earned his MBA from the MIT Sloan School of Management and a master's in biomedical engineering from Duke University. Welcome, Arjun. I'd love for you to introduce Great Learning to everybody present here as well.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Harish. It's wonderful to be on this panel and interact with the eminent panel members from Jain University, in addition to all of you in the audience. This evening, I'll talk briefly about Great Learning and the professional certificate that you'll be earning in addition to the MBA and the MCA that is offered from Jain University. Now, several of you have already interacted with Great Learning, either on our YouTube channel or Great Learning Academy, or any of the other live webinars that we've been doing over the last several months and years in areas such as data science, analytics, digital marketing, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and so on. Now, we've specifically chosen these areas because that's where most of the jobs are. Now, these are the areas where recruiters are currently looking for talent and are not able to find sufficient numbers for it. So young professionals who are about to start their career, if they are able to acquire these skills, can find growth that will last for a very long time. Now, these MBA programs and the MBA program and the MCA programs are also, you'll notice, offered in these areas of data science, analytics, AI, cloud computing, and so on. So a few aspects of Great Learning I wanted to call out. Over the last several years, we've now impacted over 1 million learners from over 160 countries who come for our various learning modules online. and professional certificate programs. And we are able to deliver these programs in a very close collaboration with industry experts. And many of that will be part of this professional certificate, which I'll talk about in a moment as well. And we work with 2,500 such industry experts from all around the world. We also work with about 400 hiring partners to find relevant opportunities for the students who come into our various programs. And as a result of all of these activities, last year we were awarded the Best EdTech Company of the Year. As some select collaborations that we have with universities from around the world are mentioned here, you'll notice that several of them are the leading universities from the world: Stanford, MIT, Northwestern, IIT Madras, of course, UT Austin, and now Jain University, where we're collaborating for this professional certificate program, as well as joined, as well as the MBA and MCA degree programs. Harish, if you could go to the next slide. Now, specifically, our focus at Great Learning is to enable career outcomes to happen. And as part of this professional certificate that Great Learning is provided, in addition to the MBA degree and MCA degree from Jain University, we will be offering a number of activities that are organized to help you find the career growth that you're looking for. For example, we will be organizing a number of industry-focused lectures and seminars in many of the areas that you just heard about earlier, in all the areas, in fact, that you heard about earlier. In addition to that, there will be several application-oriented hackathons and projects. Now, today, many times when companies recruit, they ask for experience. And since many of you would be early career professionals, the way for you to show your experience is to have worked on a number of hackathons and projects. And that enables you to demonstrate that you can solve a problem, which is what the industry is looking for. And similar kinds of problems will be given for you with mentorship and guidance so that you can be better prepared for jobs. Now, learning is one aspect, but in order to finally crack an interview, you need to demonstrate aptitude as well. And that will be part of the recruitment process. So we have a lot of modules that are around aptitude building, skill training. You'll have the opportunity to take tests and be better prepared when you're going for your various placement-related processes. You will be able to work on building a portfolio and your resume, which has got relevant projects. For example, if you're doing an MBA in data science, or if you're doing an MCA in full-stack development, as part of the process, as I mentioned earlier, you'll be working on application-oriented projects, which you can then show to a recruiter, demonstrating your ability to solve real-world problems. There will be guidance on developing your interview skills. And finally, you will have access to job boards as well as career fairs through which you can then get the transition that you're looking for. That's a quick overview. I'll hand it over back to Harish. I wish you good luck in this program. And then towards the end, if there are more questions around the professional certificate from Great Learning, I'd be happy to take that as well.
And Dr. Dimant, I think you've gone through the various facets of Jain University, the online degrees and how it's structured, the professional certificate that you'll earn from Great Learning, and the kinds of career support. I see a few questions that are starting to trickle in, but before we take the questions, let me actually walk you through at a very high level the MBA and MCA degrees, particularly the specializations that we talked about, and why that's so important. And I believe that answers some of your questions. Some of you also had questions on career and career support, which I hope just got answered. All right. So first, let me take the MBA program. Right? As Arjun said, this is an MBA program where you, along with the MBA degree, you'll also earn a professional certificate from Great Learning. Why is that relevant? Well, first off, like I said, Jain is a recognized university. It's a very well-respected university among employers, but equally, we at Great Learning, we've had a track record of 20,000 or more people who've graduated from various postgraduate programs, who've gone on to build careers, and all of that the recognition of what it means to get a professional certificate from Great Learning and an MBA from Jain University is, it's validation, right? You go to pretty much any company and they're going to look at these two things and say, wow, okay, I trust that you've gone through rigor. You've built the work ethic required to complete all of this, and that in all aspects of your learning, you focused on practical, hands-on learning. Right? That's one of the guiding principles of everything that we do and we share with Jain University, and that's why this collaboration works so well. Specifically, let me focus on both the digital marketing and e-commerce as well as the data science and analytics specializations. Right? So first, let's take the digital marketing certification. Why is this so important? Why am I focusing on some of these these specializations? Well, the reality is a lot of industry is moving this way, right? A few years ago, digital marketing would have been a specialized career. Now, I would argue that nearly all of marketing is digital marketing. Right? If you look at the very first stat that I've shared with you, online advertising is nearly half of all global ad spend. Right? Let me rephrase that. Google, Facebook, and Amazon, right? Three of the biggest platforms on which you might, and their respective platforms, YouTube and Instagram and so on. These three companies probably get 50% of all advertising, all marketing spend in the world. Not all digital marketing spend, but all marketing spend. Right? In that world, we're really talking about digital marketing, nearly all marketing jobs becoming digital marketing jobs. Right? We've seen this firsthand. It's one of the most in-demand areas as far as young talent is concerned. It commands a massive premium when people are going out and looking for jobs. And it is really, one of the hallmarks of a lot of these specializations, as I'll walk you through, is that the supply of really talented, qualified people who've worked hands-on, who've built their skills in this area, is just not enough to keep up with the demand, right? And so if you've built these skills, you're invaluable to the industry. We're talking about, as you'll see, pretty much every platform on your phone or on your computing device is represented in this wheel here, right? And that's all of the platforms that you're going to work on. Similarly, why an MBA in data science, right? A lot of people have this perception that data science is a technical field. I don't really need to, maybe I'm not mathematically inclined, maybe I'm not a programmer, I'm not a developer. What should I do? How should I be thinking about data science? I don't know if it will come as a surprise to you, but it does come as a surprise to many that an MBA in data science or MBA in analytics is actually really widely respected. Why? Because it is the perfect blend of somebody who understands the business context and is able to think analytically and think in a data-driven manner. A lot of data jobs require you to understand the business context, because a lot of data jobs are the use of data for a marketing problem, the use of data for a supply chain problem, the use of data for an HR problem, right? But these are business problems. At the end of the day, the reason all of these jobs exist is because businesses need problems solved, right? So the understanding business foundations, business fundamentals, and building that strong core in business, and supplementing that with a fairly rigorous application in analytics and data science is really what helps you tap into a lot of a lot of the opportunity that's presented in this slide in front of you. Right? We're talking about nearly $3 billion industry, just the analytics industry in India alone, and this excludes a lot of auxiliary roles that will all benefit. Right? Like I said, marketing jobs, finance jobs, HR jobs. If you are an analytically minded HR person, you're worth your weight in gold. So if you really think about it, an MBA will actually benefit a lot from both data science and analytics and digital marketing, and these are the emerging areas, right? So now it's hard to be an intuition-based an MBA who doesn't really understand data centricity and who doesn't know how to do basic analysis. Similarly, it's hard to be an MBA who says, I understand marketing, if you don't really understand digital marketing, right? So that's one of the reasons why I've highlighted some of these specializations which And these specializations also do earn you this professional certificate that Arjun talked about previously, right? And to reinforce a point that Dr. Dhimant was making earlier, in each of these cases, you're looking at it, a lot of digital marketing and concepts and everything that you need to know as a digital marketer or as an analytics professional supplements the core MBA curriculum. It doesn't replace, it supplements. But it's also not an afterthought. It's not just a couple of courses here and there. As you will see, that it's deep, right? It goes really, really deep into the relative specializations. So over the course of 2 years, you're going to be spending nearly half your time on your specialization and another half on building your core MBA skills. So if you're looking at data science and analytics, you're going to build every single aspect, right? You're going to learn some of the tools, SQL, Python, and some of the tools that are widely recognized. If you go on any job board and just put these keywords in, chances are you're going to get tens of thousands of jobs, right? That's what these kinds of degrees make you eligible for. Similarly, on the digital marketing front, you're going to look at inbound marketing, outbound marketing, web and social media, pretty much everything that you do these days, right? We all live on the web. We are doing this entire event on the web. You are on social media platforms simultaneously. So, think about which side do you want to just be a consumer of all of this, or do you want to be on the other side of the table? Being a producer and being an expert in these areas. And so that's the opportunity with these specializations as far as the MBA is concerned, if for those of you who are interested in the MBA. But equally, let me also talk about the MCA degree. Again, as Dr. Dhimant said, even in the MCA degree, we're going to focus on the same amount of rigor. We're going to focus on specializations that that are really, really industry relevant, that people really want. Again, you're going to earn a professional certificate from Great Learning, widely respected in the industry. And between Jain University's 20,000 learners over the last 12 or so years, and Great Learning's 20,000 or so professional learners in various roles, you have a massive alumni network that you're going to get plugged into, right? And when you reach out and they see that you either have a professional certificate from Great Learning or a master's degree from Jain, or in this case both, it's going to open doors. One of the reasons these things matter is that they're going to give you the benefit of doubt, right? If they happen to be in a position of power, they're going to look at it and say, oh, I recognize this, I did this, or one of my peers did this, and so let me take a chance on this person and let me at least give them a call. Right, so it's very valuable, and all of these degrees come with not just online learning. There was a gentleman here who asked a question on whether this is a correspondence course. No, it's not. Right? This is a comprehensive course. As Dr. Dhimant said, one of the things that you are going to go through in this program is effectively lifting a very rigorous program that you're going to do on campus and delivering that through all of the benefits of the tools available online. So you're going to have recorded lectures, multimedia lectures. You're going to have live sessions with faculty. You're going to have ways to reach out and get your doubts clarified. You're going to have your exams proctored and online. You're going to have supplementary online material, which is going to link you to further reading and material. So effectively, it's gone from being your university library being replaced by supplementary learning material, but then the supplementary learning material being the gateway to the entire curated internet, which is your larger university, right? And it also has a ton of you're going to have a ton of assessments throughout. In the MCA degree, you're going to have assessment quizzes. You're going to have projects. Continuous assessment, as Dr. Dhimant said, and all of this. So you're going to have all of the rigor of doing it physically, but all of the convenience of doing it online. Right? It's hard for me to. I can't stress this enough that one of the reasons why I started out this hour by saying this is a revolution and this is such a momentous occasion is because we don't sacrifice any of the learning or any of the quality of the learning and the outcomes. It's just that the platform has changed. It's just that the mode has changed, which means that you don't have to physically be present in Bangalore at any given time. You don't physically. You can do this without quitting your job. You might be you might be hesitant to give up your job to do these master's degrees. Now you no longer have to. Right? So that's the flexibility and rigor that that combine to give you this massive opportunity. Again, an MCA is also a very valuable degree. Again, universities, companies really respect people who have done a rigorous MCA degree, but it's all stepped up one level if your MCA comes with a rigorous data science specialization. As I said, in addition to analytics being a massive area, so of course, if you're doing an MBA, then you're going to look at it more from the perspective of how do I combine business and analytics. If you're doing an MCA, you're going to move to the other end of the spectrum and say, how do I take an analytical approach, but also then build systems? How am I going to code an application? Because guess what? Whether it's Netflix, whether it's Hotstar, whether it's Big Bazaar, whether it's Amazon, somebody has to build these systems. And the people who can build good systems and combine that with rigorous understanding of how data science works are worth their weight in gold. And that's the opportunity that this particular specialization opens up for you. A second important specialization is cloud computing. Right? Everything's on the cloud these days. Chances are, some of you don't even really use physical storage. And earlier things used to be stored. There were these big boxes of computers, and that's where computing was, right? And you had a storage unit, and you only had a limited amount of things that you could store, and you had to connect to the internet. And now you have everything's always on, always connected. Chances are you're doing most of your learning, reading, watching online or on the phone, and so everything's on the cloud. The future is the cloud. I would actually argue that go one step further and say the present is the cloud. Right? Nearly every company is working on the cloud. There are entire billion-dollar companies that are built only on the cloud. So again, the market size for this is immense. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars, thousands of crores, and there are a range of jobs, from people who need to understand the infrastructure to people who need to understand how to code on the cloud, and so on and so forth. And we're going to expose you to a lot of these different areas. Right? This is a massively growing area as well. A third important area, artificial intelligence. Again, something that everybody talks about, but very few people understand. So if you look at this graph at the bottom right here, right, the one with the two green lines, a light green line and a dark green line, really let me interpret that for you. What it's saying is that the bottom light green line are the searches, are the number of people who are looking for AI jobs, right? And the dark green line on top over the last 6 years or so are the number of job postings. That is the gap between the demand and the available supply of quality people in this space. Right? If you happen to be one of these people who has these skills, you can have your pick of jobs in this space. There's an immense rise in the demand for this area. I will emphasize that you do have to have these skills, right? There are a lot of people going around and saying, hey, you know what, I have done this one short course, or I've read about AI, and therefore I'm going to talk about AI. The reason this gap exists is because people haven't done it rigorously enough. And that's our endeavor here, right? Through all of the specialization courses that you're going to do, is to get you up to a level of proficiency where if you apply yourself, if you built this e-portfolio that Arjun was talking about earlier, you're able to not just say that I know this, but go and show that you know it. You will be able to crack these roles. Right? And you could turn around and talk to pretty much every company. We do this on a daily basis, and they're all looking to invest in AI. I think the thing that's holding them back is talent, right? Is qualified, really good talent, because they can't just take anybody off the street and give them a job in an AI role. You really have to have built your skills. But if you have built your skills, everybody wants you. Right? And this is not just me saying it. If you look at this graph on the top right, some of the best universities in the world, Stanford, University of California at Berkeley, University of Washington, Georgia Tech, everybody is seeing a marked increase in the number of people studying AI and the number of people enrolled in AI courses. And finally, but not at all the least, an MCA in full stack development, right? An MCA is fundamentally a computing degree. You are going to learn how to write code. You are going to learn infrastructure. You're going to learn how to deploy applications. But learning anything piecemeal is never going to get you anywhere, right? Really, what people want is are developers who have what they call the T model of expertise, right? You're really specialized in one area, but you need to know, you need to go broad as well. You need to understand front end, you need to understand back end, you need to understand a little bit of cloud computing, where things are deployed. You need to understand web APIs, because ultimately these days everything is an API in the technology world. So people, again, who have this comprehensive set of skills are really in demand. We're talking about millions of jobs that are being added every day. Another area where, and we've seen this, from first-hand experience, companies can't get enough of people who have this skill. And the supply of really qualified full stack development or full stack developers, it really just doesn't match the demand, right? So if you've built your skills, and that justifies, right? That's why you start to see full stack developers starting at 6, 7, 8, 9 lakhs per annum, and that's a starting salary, right? And then it just grows exponentially from there. Look, but again, I'll emphasize this: all of these areas are not trivial, right? These are important roles. These are challenging roles. These are companies want to hire people who have these skills, and that's why they are all so sought after. That's why they're so high paying. And that's the reason why we spend, again, so much of our time building your specializations, right? So you spend half of your degree or half of your 2 years, learning very specialized, or building very specialized skills, and not just building specialized skills, but building a portfolio of projects, building a portfolio of tangible things that you can showcase. And if you do your MCA in cloud computing, you're actually going to learn enough to go and get your cloud computing certification. Guess what? That is validation that you really know what you're talking about, in addition to the degree and the professional certificate we talked about. The same with full stack development. You graduate and you've gone through front end, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You've built an application end to end. You've tested it. You've deployed it. And you can showcase that, right? You could share your GitHub profile with everybody. Right? The same with the AI and data science. You can actually build analyses. You can analyze everything from IPL statistics to COVID statistics to weather data, and actually build working systems. And you will do some of that as part of these specializations. So it's not just theoretical learning. It's not just conceptual learning. You're going to spend half of your entire degree working on these areas, building these skills, building these tangible, demonstrable things that you can showcase to people, so nobody can ever doubt that you have these skills. Right. You'll have, as Dr. Dhiman said, we're going to take your social life, but we're going to give you a future in return. Right. 30 years of outshining your peers. Right, so I'll just summarize. Why is this whole package so attractive? You get to learn from the top faculty. Combination of all these different modalities we talked about: live, interactive, but also recorded online. You get all of the benefits and the recognition of an MCA and an MBA degree from a reputed institute. That's part of the top 100 universities as the NIRF rankings go. You earn a degree with a future-ready specialization, as we just spent so much time on the specializations. You gain practical skills, projects, e-portfolios that you can showcase. You're industry-ready because you learn from some of the industry experts. You will hear from industry experts in addition to faculty. You're going to have a more diverse group of peers, right? You're going to have a wider network than you would if you just went to a classroom and sat with 40, 50, 60 other people. You're going to have a pan-India and maybe even a global audience. Global peer group with which to interact. And you're going to access really robust career support. And all of these without having to quit your job and at the convenience of sitting at home. So I think that's it's a wonderful comprehensive thing that you can really benefit from. A quick overview on eligibility. For both the MBA and MCA, you must have completed your bachelor's degree. If you're in your final year as well, you're eligible to apply. For the MBA, you must have earned 50% marks or equivalent in your CGPA in your bachelor's degree. For an MCA, the same, but you should also have passed mathematics at the 10+2 level or graduation and have scored more than 50% of marks, because the MCA is more of a technical degree. If you have questions on whether or not this lines up with you specifically and your qualifications, please reach out. We're happy to counsel you on your your specific case. Right? What is the admission process? You apply online, register, fill up the online application form. You will go through an online admission test. At the end of that, you will get a screening call from you will go through an admissions interview with the admission director's office. And once selected, you will receive an offer of admission. That's all I had. And first, before we get into the Q&A, I'd like to again thank Dr. Raj Singh, Dr. Dhimant Kanatra, Mr. Arjun Nair for joining me, walking through all of the different aspects of this program. There are a set of questions that I'm quickly going to go through, and I'd welcome you all to jump in if you have anything to add. But before we get there, the contact details, if you want to reach out and ask more questions, we have an email ID specifically for the MBA and specifically for the MCA. Reach out to either of them, and we'll counsel you on your individual needs. There's a question on, well, there are two questions on taking the MBA program and the MCA program and the fee structure. Arjun, may I request you to answer that question?
Sure. So both these can you hear me? Yeah. So both these programs are priced at 2 lakhs. All the details are there in the website. That I think the link was shared a little earlier. You have the option to pay it in one go, in which case there is some benefit available. Otherwise, you can pay it semester wise. And then you also have the opportunity to finance it through various loan partners. All of that is in place. If you need any guidance there, we will be able to help you with. You just need to speak to our counselors.
There were a number of other questions that I believe we've answered around duration. Like I said, both of these degrees are 2 years, and as Dr. Dhimant said, you have the opportunity to do it over a longer period of time, should you choose to do so, or if you have an urgent need. I still recommend that you power through it because it helps. There's another question on the BBA program. So hold that thought. Reach out to us if you'd like, and just talk to us on one of these numbers. We'll talk about the BBA degrees on a separate session. Right now we're focusing on MBA and MCA, but reach out in any case. There's a question on career support and placement. I think, Arjun, you've answered a lot of that. Yes, there's a fairly robust career support system. Everything from preparing you for jobs to exposing you to a variety of jobs. And I want to emphasize that one of the reasons these specializations, I walk through these specializations, is that we've personally worked with each of these with dozens or hundreds of companies in these areas, right? So we have plenty of experience in these areas. So yeah, so very robust career support. There's a question on, is it AICTE approved? Dr. Dhimant, do you want to take that? I believe it's got, yeah, it has all of the required accreditation, and there's no real qualification.
Yeah, Harish, I saw a couple of questions coming on the approval part of it, the credibility part of it. Yes, yeah. In an online mode, the approval comes from University Grants Commission. So UGC is the body under the government which is allowing us to offer this online degrees. If you happen to visit the UGC's website, there's a circular dated 10th March, which you should be able to download, and you would find our name and also the programs mentioned for the approval and recognition sake. I hope I've answered that query.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Dhimant. There's another question on how this compares to to other degrees. Is this in any way lesser? Short answer, absolutely not. As Dr. Dhimant said earlier, The only real difference is the modality, right? You're going through the same degree, the same requirements, the same 120 hours of learning per course, the same kind of evaluation process. So there are no qualifiers, and it will be it, and therefore it's the same degree, just as respected with companies as any other in-person degree would be. There's another question on what makes this special and how this is different from some of the online courses. Look, frankly, there are many ways to learn. Some of the online courses are what is commonly called as just-in-time learning. You have a doubt, you have a question, you have a query on how do I do X. You go learn it quickly. I think the platform you talked about is Udemy. Those are short courses. We are talking about degrees, so there's not even they're not even in the same realm, right? So there is no comparison. We're talking about full-fledged, comprehensive, really well-respected degrees from one of the top 100 NIRF ranked universities, along with a professional certificate that's, again, super respected in the industry. So yeah, there's really no comparison. Short courses have their place, and they are for just-in-time learning when you have a quick thing that you want to pick up in a few hours, few days, or something like that. For more comprehensive learning, you have and when you want to earn a degree, that's when you come to us. There's a question on, does this degree hold validation from the employer's point of view? Like I said, nothing changes, right? This is highly respected, similar. It's from a really top university. Your professional certificate itself has 20,000 alumni in some of the best companies in the world. So absolutely respected. If it, like, as we've said a couple of times before, there is really no difference except the modality, the fact that it's online. So nothing changes. If anything, you will actually be able to do even more, because chances are, if you are already working, then you don't have to quit your job and you can still do this. And even if you're not working, the opportunity to to do it at your convenience, with flexibility, with the opportunity to look at recorded sessions, re-watch recorded sessions if you have doubts. And so there are just really a lot of upsides to doing it this way. Another question from Amla is that one of their weaknesses is coding. How far depth of knowledge of coding is required if I choose an MBA program in data science? Look, if you're doing an MBA program, we don't assume that you are a master coder, right? We don't assume you've even done a programming course before. You will have to learn a little bit of Python over the course of the program in that specialization. But because we don't assume that you have prior knowledge in that area, we will start from ground zero. So absolutely doable. And like I said, it is very much viewed from from integrating the data science and analytics world with the business world. It's not meant to develop you as a programmer. I think. Okay, I believe we've answered a lot of the questions so far. If there are any other, like I said, this is not the end of it. If you still have questions, please feel free to reach out. We have both of our, the phone numbers as well as the email IDs up here. Reach out, reach out to us, and we're happy to counsel you on your individual needs. I believe there are, there are a lot of other, people who are going to. We're going to have similar questions, so we'll start to populate that over time. Okay, so I believe there is a question on WES, and Dr. Raj wants to answer that, and it's a wonderful opportunity to allow me to give the floor to Dr. Raj. Go ahead.
Thank you. I believe WES is World Education Society. This gives equivalence to qualifications when one moves from one country to other country, particularly the US. For the benefit of everyone, India is now a signatory to Washington Accord. And all the signatory countries, if they have their own institutions and programs accredited by home accreditation bodies like we are by NAC, they'll automatically be accepted. So this individual equivalence requirement is not there right now. So WES is required when you are not accredited in your home country and you still want to get equivalence. So then you can apply to them. Otherwise, for universities like us, there is no requirement of this. Automatically getting equivalence because of Washington Accord, we are signatory to.
Thank you, Dr. Okay. So if there's nothing else at this point, like I said, this is the beginning of a conversation, not your only opportunity to talk to us. So please feel free to reach out. Since we're past time, I'm going to wrap up this session now. Thank you very much, Dr. Raj Singh, Dr. Dhimant Kanatra, Mr. Arjun Nair, for joining me in this session. It's been wonderful speaking to all of you. I'm excited about this slate of programs that we have, and yeah, and best of luck to all of you applicants. I hope this has been helpful, and yeah, good luck.